It's a complicated question, and my simple answer is no. I don't think I don't think it's the right concept. I think the discussion is not as yet about the level of concepts. But when it comes to concepts, the concept of secularism is related to communal problems in such a way that it brings with it already a moral judgment that secularism is better. So we don't somehow stop to consider why it's better, or where did we initially get the idea that it might be a better solution to communal problems. I think also what secularism does is it identifies groups as communities who have communal problems. Once you have placed it in that framework, then the only solution seems to be secularism. So I think there is a very deep-rooted problem with the discourse in which we talk about communities in India. Yeah, well, some of the basic problem, which I think we've done a little bit of discussion about in the conference so far, is that there is a conceptual problem. I think yesterday Neera had mentioned that concepts don't come in isolation, they always come embedded with other concepts. Well, secularism as a concept comes embedded with so many concepts which come directly from Christian theology that it's difficult to see why it is that a pagan culture like India, or a culture which has so many different traditions, no identifiable religion in fact, why it should see secularism as a solution to anything at all. It looks like the theological framework has been toned down a little bit, but I think at the level of concepts, it's still the theological concepts that are guiding the discourse of secularism. That, I think, is the reason why we're not going to find an Indian kind of secularism. You know, the kind of discussion we were having yesterday, let's find an Indian secularism. I don't think we can find an Indian secularism that will solve a problem of group differences or any kind of differences in India. Oh, very much so. I think it's not just that it challenges the status quo, but that when you put the argument across in a simple and coherent way, it rings so true with so many people. So many people immediately pick up the concept and say, well, hey, yeah, that's true. It didn't solve this problem. And in fact, since 1947, all we've had are different kinds of group conflicts which seem to be expanding rather than diminishing. And it's odd because that's when we started talking about India as a secular state.